Hey, I'm Kris with Through the Prism of Chrism. We've been in 2 weeks of intense study on the subject of revival. Yesterday we talked about chasing legion from the region. That is, revival moves and removes the spiritual principality or power and ousts them from the heavenly realm so that God could move. Daniel did the same in the 10th chapter. He fasted for 21 days until Michael the archangel came and drove the prince of Persia out of the heavenly so that there could be change. Isaiah chapter 64 verse 1 is a powerful prayer. Oh, that you would rend the heavens and that you would come down that the mountains might melt in your presence. Mountains, civic mountains, political mountains, religious mountains. Things have to be moved out of the heavens. God's will is on earth as it is in heaven. But whatever the obstruction is between point A and point B has to be removed. So let's talk about how to get an open heaven. Point number 1, an open heaven has been our right ever since Jesus paved the way. 2,000 years ago in John 1 and verse 51, Jesus said, hereafter, in other words, from this point in time, now that I have come to this earth to start my church, he said, you will see the heavens open and angels of God, listen, ascending and descending on the Son of Man. Now notice he didn't say descending then ascending, down then up. It was up then down. Why is that? Because the base of operations has been moved to earth into the hands of the church. We have the keys of the kingdom, okay? Now, point number 2, we pry open the heavens when we pray open the heavens. Jesus did that. Luke 3 and verse 21, it came to pass when the people were baptized that Jesus also being baptized and praying, notice this, and praying, the heavens were open and the Spirit of God descended in a bodily form as a dove. So the way you pry open the heavens is to pray open the heavens. Point number 3, the windows of heaven are open when the fountains of the great deep are broken. One is opened when the other is broken. Okay? Genesis 7:11 is a good 7:11 verse for us today. It says, the same day, this is Noah's day, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up and the windows of heaven were open. Now, this is typological. It's a picture of the rending of our hearts. Joel 2 and verse 12 says, rend your hearts and not your garments. When Jesus died, the veil of the temple was rent open to make access into the glory realm. Well, there always has to be a rending of the fleshly man before there is an opening of the things of God in revival. And then number 4, the heavens are opened in Acts because of one reason. In Acts, believers acted. Quit sitting on your duff. Get something done for God. You remember Stephen had been a deacon that was waiting on tables, but he got a promotion and started waiting on God. When he did, miracles started to happen. He began to preach with power. His face shone like an angel, and the people gathered around him started to stone him. But first, he said in Acts 7 and verse 51, I see heaven open and Jesus standing at the right hand of God. Because he acted and opened up the heavenlies and he got a standing ovation from the Lord. It's time for the church to get busy and move into Acts mode, okay? And then number 5, the heavens won't open until the church quits horsing around. What are you talking about? Well, I'm using that as a metaphor because in Revelation 19 and verse 11, the heavens were open. Notice this. I saw heaven opened and behold a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he judges and makes war. Now, Jesus will return again, and the heaven's going to open, and he'll ride a white charger. But listen, I'm using that as a symbolism today of a mature church. The early church was pictured as a colt, the foal of an ass, unbroken, untamed, but the church in its full stature and in its full measure, in its maturity, knowing its dominion, comes as a royal, white, pure, holy steed with Jesus giving the cues. Listen, he rides the horse of the church. It's time for us to quit horsing around and come into obedience to Jesus Christ so that he can get his job done as he's about to return again. I hope you can understand that. Kris here talking about revival and how to move into revival. I'm praying for an open heaven. I want it to happen in your church and in your city. I want you to if you're liking this, share this with a friend, and we'll see you tomorrow with more on Through the Prism of Chrism. Have a great weekend.